Okay. Welcome everyone to the CB2's November Executive Committee meeting. I'm Susan Kent, Chair of CB2. We have a quorum, so we're going to get started. First item, approval of the October committee minutes. Is there anyone have any questions or amendments or any issues with those minutes that they would like to raise? If not, I will take a motion to
approve.
and a second.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Chair's report. Two meetings that I attended that I just want to share with you. End of October, there was a meeting hosted by the district attorney on public safety in Washington Square Park. It was rather interesting because not only the DA was there and spoke, but the new deputy mayor for public safety, Chauncey Parker, was there. Maybe later you can give your 2 cents on it. And it looks like there is plans to produce a multi-agency task force to work on this the issues of the park and the related area on an ongoing basis. Second, last week I attended the Hudson River Park Advisory Council and heard a presentation by Related on development of the remainder of Hudson Yards. They've got big plans, including plans for a high-end
Solarium.
no.
Bar. Sex club.
Gambling, casino.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
name the vice.
I'm so sorry. Yes, for a very high-end casino, and the ripple effects of those changes. So I invite everyone to look at the video to see what the plans are about, because certainly it will have an impact on the park. It will ripple down and affect certainly the High Line, and then eventually us.
Wait, did you say that the Wynn Casino has been approved for Hudson Yards?
No, I said they will be seeking an approval, a license, one of the 3 licenses for downstate. Wynn is seeking that for that area.
I thought they had already been turned down by a community council that was supposed to pass. Okay, whatever.
I'm not sure, but it's still.
All right.
2 of the licenses, in my view, are already spoken for.
Oh, 2 are the ones?
And the MGM Empire racetrack, because they've already been there, and the Resorts World in Queens. I think my view is they're going to give 2 to the ones that have already been operators for.
Yeah.
My understanding
that's
was
just
that the Wynn
my
program there was a board of the city council person, the state assembly, the community board, and 2 other appointees that had to approve it, but they didn't.
I cannot tell you how likely it is. All I know is that they are presenting this, and they presented it to CB4 as well. They're looking for it, and they're looking to put in what they consider to be a very high-end establishment. Lastly, because it's holiday season, I just want to encourage all of the committee chairs. It's going to be tough getting quorum. Don't wait. Please reach out to all of your members early, because those meetings that are coming still this month and next month, it's a shame if, your committees aren't going to, be able to meet in their official capacity. So we know what happens, and I just putting that out there. Our holiday party, our unofficial event, is reminding everyone it is the 9th, and it's at the Brass Monkey. A memo will go out regarding our annual collection for staff gifts. So as we do every year, and I hope everyone will be generous. And that's it for me. Mark, your report.
Okay. I'm standing over here and see if that can be heard. Okay. On the table for the folks in the room, and we'll put it up on the screen for those at home, we have the first look of the calendar for 2025, as well as, of course, the December calendar. I also have a separate memo that highlights which dates going forward in 2025 look like they're going to be problematic. The most significant of which is going to be June full board, because June full board falls on the day of Juneteenth. So the only sane thing to do is to move everything down a week. because there's an empty week there. But you'll see it in the days as we go forward, but that's the highlight. We try to put the board package out as early in the day tomorrow as possible, so committee chairs, please get us your resolutions. We're moving forward with Airtable. It turns out that our substitute temp, Fran, used to work for an entire career at Oracle, so he has a lot to say about what naming conventions and how to manipulate all of that. So if I had my druthers, I'd keep him forever, but I know that won't be possible, but maybe we can keep him for a little longer and have him work on that. I defer to the board and the leadership on exactly how that has to happen, but first plug for that. So I have here kudos to Susan Kent and David Gruber. I know I said that before, but I've got to say it again because they, not I, have managed to get NYU to give us a room for all of 2025.
Wow. Is this the one where
Basically can now do without me because you guys have a place to go.
Not so fast.
And it's the one that we're going to be in on this Thursday. So we're going to test drive it on Thursday. We'll be at the Sheen Center in December. The Black Box Theater, by the way. So it'll be a different room, but equally accommodating. Same tech guys, so reason to believe it'll work. Anyway, it's right over here. It's in that area where it's called the Gould Welcome Center, which is part of Shimkin Hall, but don't go in the door that says Shimkin Hall. And go in the door off of West 4th Street. It'll hold about 110, 120 people. It doesn't look like it because it's kind of long and thin, and there's a column in the middle, but so is there at 75 Morton Street. So we'll make it work. And they can let us in at a decent time so we can set up and they're being really, really lovely about it. We had a test drive with some things the other day with Arlene and two of her staff. So it's not just, oh, here's the keys. They're being very accommodating. And I think that we have leaning on hires up by Susan and David to thank for that. So thank you. You will see on Thursday, somebody who I've been using as a fill-in help. I started using him for SLA in October because I wasn't here. And he pushed the button and got things rolling. His name is Yosuke, and I've known him since 4th grade. And he's a terrific kid, and he kind of needs a little bit of work. And so he's going to be with us on Thursday in part to help set up, but also because you're not allowed to leave that room, or rather you can leave the room to go to the bathroom, but you can't come back. So someone's got to staff the door. So that's going to be Yosuke. And I hope you get to like him because, he could fill in for some things that, piecework here and there that can really be useful to the office and to meetings. A quick heads up. I know I've told Donna and Carter about this. St. Anthony's, the church, the downstairs. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you drop something round on that floor, it'll circumnavigate the room 2 or 3 times. It's a roller coaster.
Oh, gosh. I did not notice that.
Oh, yeah, there's like a whole thing. If you ever set up the chairs like I do, they slide as you do it. So anyway, that's going to be the archdiocese, excuse me. The archdiocese has approved sending it out for bids. It's out for bids now. So that project will happen sometime in the new year. I'm going to go over there tomorrow once we've approved the calendar and give them the dates and find out which of them are fiction and which of them are really going to happen. I know I put this in my email to everybody last night, but a quick reminder that absent with notice doesn't change the quorum requirements. And we've been averaging 10 to 11 people absent with notice for the last 3 months. And with only 44 members, that makes achieving quorum that much harder. And a reminder that extraordinary circumstances also doesn't count towards quorum. It's only the temporary or permanent disability. So this is a plea for quorum. As of when this meeting started, thanks to Emma and her very handy spreadsheet, we now know how many people we can expect as of right now. That is 24 out of 33 responses. That is exactly quorum. So if somebody sneezes and misses their stop on the subway, we're screwed. So we really need a push to get attendance there. I think the most important thing is we have 33 responses. There were 44 members, so there's still 11 we haven't heard from. And I know that we have 5 absent with notice as of now, as a hand.
Can you send that notice to the full board? Because I've had trouble getting quorum in my own meetings. So I think that.
I did send that to the full board.
Thank you.
Based on, I think it was Valerie who suggested it, and it's a good suggestion, so I've been doing it ever since, again, shamelessly taking credit for it, that whatever the executive committee gets, the full board gets, just in case they want to attend and just in case the materials are necessary. Okay, enough.
I think you should say that at the meeting again.
Yeah.
Look, if any of your committee,
The problem is the people who are in the
You're
room.
right, you're right.
if any committee member asks you, can I be online? Do you have quorum? The answer is always no. You've always got to be in person unless you have one of those exceptions. It's got to be no. We can't do it any other way.
Or we'll bring a professor in and we'll have a session on game theory, because that's what's happening. Everybody's assuming somebody else is going to be here.
Right.
Okay, and then just a quick note, district office hours, I'm going to do my best to keep the office open. Hey, Tom. Keep the office open on the Friday of Black Friday, but we'll probably close it early because anybody that calls the community board at 5 o'clock on Black Friday probably should be calling 911, not us. So and then during the week between Christmas and Hanukkah, which are the same day this year, and New Year's Eve, there may be some spotty coverage at the office or working from home. Again, we'll make sure that those things that had to get out will get out. But in-house coverage may be a little grab and
Can you
go.
repeat those dates? When is that?
The week between Christmas and New Year's. So
The 23rd through the 27th with,
it's more like the 26th to the 30th.
oh, okay.
That's, and again, I'm hoping that there's not a lot of traffic in there, other than that's probably the time in which we're going to post the flyers, at least for SLA. And it looks like we may use our flyer guy for some other things too. So I know David Gruber is using him for something, so. And that's all I've got unless there are questions.
Well,
Thanks.
we have gotten into number 4, the review of the
Calendar.
calendars.
Yeah, okay. Now, Mark has prepared an entire calendar for 2025. Of course, it is just a first pass, but we are, as we're trying to lay it out, give people a chance to think ahead. But let's focus on December. Any issues with December? Oh,
December, yeah.
and, right.
Is there, yeah, one more.
One more over here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I don't know where it's gonna land for us, but we're likely gonna have to have a second meeting. I don't know where, I don't know how. I'm gonna pull my committee for dates.
Okay. Look, we'll make
Be
it work.
updated.
If we have to, we make it
As
work.
well,
It's,
because
we
it
know we're out, we're just, don't have on the calendar, but we'll make it be on the
Yeah.
calendar. And
Oh,
that's,
I'm sorry.
And here.
We're only showing,
It might be around those days.
we're only showing December, but we actually have a new, next, what is it? The 26th is actually an outdoor dining date, right, Valerie?
Oh, yes, yes, thank you. We do have,
the
no,
death.
of November. We have a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say. Christmas.
Well, it's a slow time. It's a slow time. Less than a lot of restaurants do renovations between Christmas and New Year's or January.
Okay, I don't see anybody has any issues with December, at least not right now. Month hasn't happened yet, so we'll see.
And thank you to Shirley for your flexibility on the 26th. It's much appreciated.
Okay.
Catch up later.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything they want to talk about in terms of next year? I mean, I know it's early, but I mean, this is something just to sort of look at and think about in terms of your planning, but it's okay.
Might want to mention that January, February, we'll have MLK holiday and President's Day holiday.
Yes, we do have extra, we are losing days due to federal holidays.
Oh, what happened? Are we all set on what we're doing for executive and full board in December? Was that formally announced? Or was this the announcement in here?
That was what Actually, yeah, okay.
So we had a survey at your good request, and it produced that the more likely date for a quorum was the original date of Thursday, the 19th. What's more is that while there are some folks who weren't available on that day, and we apologize, since that was the day that was broadcast and some folks obviously planned around, it seemed fairest to stick with the date that we had, both because it had the higher likelihood of a quorum and because it was keeping with what people planned for.
December.
Yeah.
Which also means then, I guess, if we don't hash out all of 2025, this meeting, then we can do that on the 17th. Is that,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
not that I'm trying to cut this conversation?
No. I think if anything.
Thinking out loud.
I think that, you know, that's what this, you know, collection of 2025 months is all about, is time to think about it so we can, you know, have more, maybe there's something you want to bring up at next exec. Well, if there's nothing else on that, let's go to our committee reports. And we have cannabis first on our list. Is there a report?
There is, but she's coming later.
Then we
Okay.
will go next to human services.
So we have a resolution this month that regards intensive mobile treatment. We met with someone from the Department of Health and Medical Hygiene about IMT. IMT is a program that we've advocated for in the past. It's a really intense program where there's like a team of, 9 staff that tend to a maximum of 27 clients who have serious mental illness. They get sent to them through various channels. But there was a controller's report, a controller's audit in February that raised questions about whether it actually worked. So we met with them, and we have a resolution that acknowledges that the audit was done at a point where DOHMH says it wasn't really the best time to check us because we had just expanded from like a small pool to a large pool, but we agree with most of the findings and we're going to have some documentation. So anyway, so we support it. Since we've advocated for it, I thought it was good for us to recognize that there may be shortcomings with the program and that we have still, to hear that it really works. The thing I want to just one more mention about what Susan referred to, there has been a task force. I don't know what the actual name of it is, but it comes through the mayor's office. They've done one in Midtown and in, I think, East Harlem and maybe in Harlem. What they are is the city puts together a board of like 3 people. In the past cases, I think they've been heads of bids or whatever. And this board convenes a meeting, I think, once a week or once every 2 weeks, and they have access to many different agencies in the city, including DOB, DSNY, NYPD, and so on. And the idea of them is to be very granular about the quality of life issues in the area and to get them to have a direct line of contact to get some of those things addressed. So someone could say, there's a scaffolding on, West 4th Street and everyone's congregating underneath there, or, there's trash on the blah, 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 blah. It's all about quality of life. So there's been a lot of attention on Washington Square Park. So the city has decided to create one of these for Washington Square Park and the environment. They're putting it together now. I think they might have had one meeting. I'm on the advisory board, whatever, something part of it, but not on the original, the essential board. The board, I think, is made up of the guy who runs the Village Alliance, Scott, and then 2 people who are at the commission meeting who are outspoken.
So they've already started.
They're starting, yeah. I have not been, I've learned about that through the West Village bid, but it seems that they're starting to get up and running. So that's encouraging. I don't know how effective that is either, but it's a good shot. So, yeah.
Do they open meetings to the public or do they?
Thank you for raising that. No, the idea of that is that it is not supposed to be a community meeting. And the reason for that is that they want efficiency. They don't want it to be town halls. So they will present periodically to the community, but these are not town halls. These are very small groups getting together and meeting and dealing with that. Thanks for raising that.
So what does IMT stand for?
Intensive mobile treatment. It's a city program. It's a city program run by DOHMH. It's modeled after a state program called Assertive Community Treatment. And the idea of these teams, so they're sort of flexible. We advocated for them because creating a team is like $1.5 million. It's not that much money relative to others. Well, it's not like building a shelter.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't take 10 years. You can do it fast.
Right.
And it's designed for, as the woman from DOHMH described it, the tail end of the bell curve. I mean, these are people who have have serious problems. It's not even easy to find out where they are. They're transient, they have multiple diagnoses, they've never qualified for other programs, but there's and their mandate, it's run by contractors who are mandated to create a relationship with this person and keep them in the program. That is the basic important thing to do. And there's a question of whether retention is like enough. Is that enough? Is that going to lead to, better outcomes? But DOHMH is saying we just expanded this program from like 4 providers to like 20. So you have to give us some time to refine it.
Thank you.
Lack of trying.
And we don't have a
Okay.
meeting in November or December.
We've already got that time allocated though.
No, I know.
If there's another question?
Sorry, yeah.
Go ahead.
So we also be voting on the resolution from last month about the social service organizations that we support.
I think that there was that was supposed to be going to the board, and then I wasn't at that board meeting, and then it slipped through the cracks, and I don't remember how Mark said he wanted to handle that. To refresh your memory, in September we met, and we wanted to just go on the record as saying that we wanted to name specific service organizations in our district and go on the record as saying we support their work, because we met with them and always issued only reports. We don't have an official CB2 position that says we support their work. And so we thought that it was important to state that, but I don't know what happened to the resolution. So-
I think it is supposed to be brought up.
Okay,
In-
good. So we'll vote on it.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for the reminder. I'll make sure it's in the back.
Okay, yeah. Okay, next, land use. Is there a presentation on land use? Eugene, I saw Eugene on.
Yep. So land use did not have a meeting this month, so we do not have a report. For next month, we are looking to get to come in for a presentation on, I'm sure you've seen in the news, Gansevoort Square. So we're looking to get a location lined up for that, but that should be at our December scheduled meeting. We're looking to get a presentation from New York EDC, as well as the other city agencies that are involved in Gansevoort Square. And for those that are not aware, this is a development where the Whitney will be expanding their cultural space. The Friends of the High Line as well will be expanding their administrative space in the area. There will be a transfer of public space from the Parks Department to the Whitney for them to manage it. And then the largest for us will be a creation of 600 units of housing. Up to 300 units of that can be affordable. We're told that that's at the upper limits of the affordability spectrum, though. There is not going to be any subsidies for creating this housing.
Yeah.
So it will be, we're here to hear the presentation for that in December. Additionally, we may need to have a second meeting in December for hearing an authorization for 125 Perry Street. This is for parking that was previously approved or no comment by land use in 2022, or no objection, I'm sorry. So we're looking to get a second meeting set up because of the way the timing works out. We need to do this within the next 45 days. So I know Mark's a list of additional meeting times where we may need to double up with another committee in December. I think one possible date is actually next Monday. Monday, the 23rd, I'm sorry, 25th. Yes, so those are the two things for land use.
Okay, please. I'm sorry. I
I just want to say, Eugene mentioned that he didn't have a location, but the late breaking news is that 75 Morton, the school, is available for the December 11th meeting. We tried for the Whitney, but even EDC couldn't move them. So that's the date for that. And then 11/25 is available because school is not meeting, so it's an open date.
Okay,
Thank
we
you,
got,
Mark.
Okay, we have some questions. First Susanna, then Shirley.
Thanks, Eugene. So Gansevoort Square, is that city-owned property?
Yes.
It is city-owned.
I see. And so the idea for the affordability is that they would issue an RFP, but it wouldn't include any subsidies like LAMP or Sarah or any of those things, and they would just cross-subsidize? Is that the idea, that the market rate would cross-subsidize for the affordable rate?
That is the news that we've heard, that it would be cross subsidies, market rate subsidizing. And that's why we're told up to 300 units. We're not told a firm percentage.
Thank you.
Can I ask why that is?
What we've been told is that this is for expediency, that it's going to be faster, that they do not have to stand in line for subsidies. That's the only reason we've been told so far.
You know, we have been, believe me, that has been brought, we have raised that immediately because and the fact that they're trying to do this in terms of units and not in terms of FAR.
But they can do LIHTC though, right? They presumably, right? Because that's not a city subsidy, right? Okay, whatever, never mind. We'll discuss.
Okay, wait. No, but Shirley is next.
Oh, yeah. I'm just curious about the parking issue.
Oh, sure.
Mary Street, is that like to do with the zoning law and maximum or minimum parking? How did it get land use?
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. Actually, that's a good question. I think it's for, it was an, yeah, I'll have to read over the application. Sorry.
Part of the application? That's the only thing I ever know about that would have to do with land use would be whether it's minimum required parking or maximum.
There are no parking
City of
mandates
Yes
in our part of
dealing with too,
Manhattan.
right?
There are no parking mandates in our part of Manhattan.
No, there are none?
Then none.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
No, people only put them in if
So
they think
then
it's
it has to be
important.
something else. That's interesting. I'd just be curious to know what.
Anyone else on any land use issues? We have still a lot to learn on this project. Okay, the next is landmarks then. Is there anyone here for land? I don't see Chenault, so we'll come back. Outdoor dining.
Oh, okay. Happy to do that. Hi, the outdoor dining working group met last week. We had 5 applications. 3 will be presented at full board for a vote. 2 are due tomorrow. So no vote on those from the full board. We are finally starting to see the uptick in applications. We had 7 Dining Out NYC application referrals yesterday. So that's the most we've received at one time. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 26th. For the big numbers, CB2 has 528 pending applications. We've reviewed 20 applications to date since May. We have 10 applications on our agenda for next week. So a total of 558 total applications. And that's any questions or
Anyone?
How long does it take you to get through one?
how long does it take to get through one? Well, it's an interesting, well, Shirley, you're very kind. So we try to run a very efficient meeting. So we are asking the question, does it fit in the box or not? And it is the rules reflected back to the applicant. And so whether or not what's presented is complete and accurate, storefront measurement off, a sidewalk width off, which impacts what that clear path is. So it's resulted in incorrect measurements have then led to having a 9-inch with sidewalk cafe as being on the board or being what's up for stake here, with the applicant telling us that based on their incorrect measurement, they have 12-inch tables. So it just doesn't work. So it works or it doesn't work. So it's hard to say like how much time. We do a lot of pre-work in going out and looking, and then the discussion that takes place at our meeting. So we've had feedback that it's a surprise. People are like, this is actually a very fair process. We it either fits or it doesn't. So it's, if people have issues with how strict the rules or regulations are, I would say talk to your city council member.
Yeah, but I just want to put in that there have been community complaints for other things besides the measurements, right?
Oh, definitely.
Noise and
Oh, yeah.
taking up the whole sidewalk and so on.
Yeah, so
Makes sense.
that's,
We had one bad operator that came.
we do have one that will be up on the
Had so
agenda,
many issues
yes.
about That it's the only one, I think, that we, instead of being objective on the rules, it's the only one that we were subjective because they were one of the top.
But it was glaring.
Yeah, over
Late town.
through the last 4 years, and there's a few places like that, most people are pretty good at, so. But the feedback is so consistently that we're surprisingly objective to the fault where the community's been upset because we're not being subjective.
Yeah,
And so,
That's interesting.
you know, it's a little different.
right on, Carter.
Yeah, so, yeah, we're just trying to have accurate, and drawings, and we get plans updated and they will sign the modifications. Everything is up to the applicant, whether they decide or not what's best for their business and how they want to move forward. So it's, we're just very clear and transparent in that. So, yes. Oh.
So one of the things in our meetings that we've discussed is when are the sheds coming down? And we've approached a number of proprietors saying, you're applying for sidewalk cafe, but you still got a shed out, you know, when are you going to take your shed down? And, or the community has come to us and said, well, what you're doing is fine, but we still have all these ugly sheds. And so people had the impression that they were mandated to be gone by November 1st, but actually, I think we inquired and
It's
the answer.
compliance by November 1st, and November 29th is when it actually has to be down. So a majority of operators have chosen at the November 1 to just completely tear
eliminated.
them down. Yeah, and then there's others that are still up. You also have maybe seen some new enclosed sidewalk cafes emerge, and so we are keeping an eye on that. And so if there's any complaints, you can file a 311 complaint or send the number.
Those are illegal, is that correct?
It is, yeah. There is a gray area right now with the old plastic covers that we're gonna get guidance on. So that's, I think.
But as of November 29th, all the sheds
Yeah.
have to be completely gone. There's no excuse or layover or grace. period.
Maybe a roadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like maybe a 1 week grace period. Yeah, it's all road, yeah,
Shed, not shed, roadway
right,
structures
just
have to be.
anything in the roadway, that's correct.
Oh, anything in the roadway, not.
Oh, well,
Sidewalk is
That's what I meant,
year
yeah.
round, but you can't have a,
Enclosed sidewalk.
yeah, and so like so I won't go into specifics. I'm happy to talk offline with some that have come down.
Okay.
I do have a quick do you want this?
Please, no, go
I
ahead.
have a quick update on the Hudson Square, New York board process. The local planning committee voted on a slate of 9 projects totaling $7.08 million. The fund, the grant is $4.5 million. So the state will award from that basket of projects. Things happen, the project sponsors have to fully fund the funds up front, and then they get reimbursed by the state afterwards. So those awards will be announced in January of 2025. So I'll have another update.
So does the bid?
So the bid the bid doesn't choose. It's a separate local planning committee. I'm on it. Aldrin Bonilla's on it. There's a different variety of people. It's not all people that are on the bid. Samara's on it. There's all the conflict of interest you recuse and all of that. So some of the highlights include, and I'll send a link, Hudson House and Plaza, $867,000, $744,000 to expand Little Six Avenue Plaza, placemaking with decking and parklets, not parking, in various areas around Hudson Square, a color walk, $600,000 from the Color Factory, Jackie Robinson statue, $227,000, New York City Fire Museum renovation of $2.5 million. This is this would be on top of the exterior issues and the foundational issues, getting those done. The film forum for their new website and lighting, and then the upgrade of a cocktail bar called Cabin, and that's it.
Any questions for Valerie? Great. Next is parks. Do we have anyone?
Oh, Rich is not here?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, what is our resolution?
He's flying now. He'll be-
He's flying.
Oh, wait.
Would you like me to come back to you?
No, that's okay. There's no resolution this month. It's a report. We met with, really interesting. We met with Washington Square Park with Will Morrison, who introduced us to this new feature on the Parks website, which is, it's called Parks for All, I think, or something like that.
That's a city program.
All manner of data on parks, heat maps, clusters, features. And we raised a couple of questions about how it works, but it was just a how-to, and the report just will, summarizes a little bit about it. It's actually phenomenal. I mean, one of
Something to play with.
those great phenomenal things that the city is doing.
Okay. Thank you. Schools.
Oh. Went fast.
Moving along.
Okay, last month we heard from Sheree Gibson of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Graduation Measures, where she discussed challenges in the high school system, including graduates' lack of critical skills like time management, writing, critical thinking, and an overemphasis on standardized tests like the Regents exams. To address these issues, NYSED, New York State Education Department, proposed a portrait of a graduate framework, which is emphasizing critical thinking, problem solving, literacy, and communication. The plan includes project-based assessments, internships, and community service to better support diverse learners while maintaining high academic standards. The Regents exams will remain an option, balancing traditional assessments. We wrote one resolution in support. And then our second agenda item was, we had a lively conversation about it, about reduced their City Bike program for New York City High School and CUNY students. While the program promoted affordable transportation, concerns were raised about accessibility for low-income families, e-bike safety, and the lack of helmet requirements. Mm-hmm. And Lyft has a lot of financial incentives behind this. So because of our lively discussion, we decided to table this and revisit it. So that was our discussion.
Great. Any questions for Patricia? Thank you. SLA.
We had a lighter, but everything is
Relative.
right, relative and still it's going to be complicated. So SLA 1, we heard 5 applications, 1 laid over at the meeting. There will be 2 denials for that. One is for and I'm saying as they described it, a dive bar on Houston, next to the Folly and Madam X. That applicant has 3 other bars in the city. One is on Essex Street. CB3 had a bunch of issues with them. Precinct 7 had a bunch of issues. There were fights outside. There's videos of brawls and fights outside. Tons of 311 complaints at all 3 of the locations going. They're not just COVID, they're going up until the present day. He wanted 4 a.m. in the morning, then he asked for 2 a.m. in the morning, and we're denying that because there just is, maybe they're not seeing the public interest in bringing that kind of activity down right into that area that has a lot of residents about it. And then the other one, I had a resolution in last month. They were a no-show. They've been a no-show on and off for the past year and a half on Talum on Grand Street, or Tulum, I think is how you say it. And the attorney showed up and the manager they have in New York, the principals are from out of town, and they still could not show up, which didn't make anybody happy. And so we thought we had an agreement with hours, everything else seemed fine. I sent them the stipulations. And of course, the principals don't agree to the stipulations because the principals weren't here, which is why we like to have the principals at the meeting, because this is what happens. And so that will be a denial once again, which is really unfortunate because we had worked it all out and this has been going on and on. They've applied with the liquor authority. They have a pending license. It's been going back and forth. It continuously changes. And it's sort of infuriating for me, the committee, and that. So that's that one. And then SLA2, we also had 4 applications. There's one denial on that one. That's the Fellini on 7th Avenue, which was an alteration application. They have a restaurant wine license. We originally denied that restaurant wine license. This is the Baby Brasa person with all the issues with that. And we had asked when we denied it for that to be called up for a full board hearing at the liquor authority. It was not, so he has his license. He's already done the alteration, which was to move a bar, which was not supposed to be done. And then while we had the application for this, I think 2 months ago, they put in their 30-day notice for an upgrade to an on-premise and the alteration, then they withdrew it. In the meantime, he has another place on Thompson Street that had an application for a tavern wine license, and we were up at full board, and that one was denied on his fitness and character because of expanding onto the sidewalk with no permits, having lines all outside, not even having that application be laid over at the full board, and still not being able to conform to anything. So we've got similar issues with this one too. Seating outside that wasn't permitted, lines outside that are blocking the sidewalk, alcohol stored where it shouldn't be, alcohol served where it shouldn't be, et cetera, et cetera. So that will be the same thing. And on a positive note, just to loop into what Valerie was saying, we did have an application for, so we had 2 things. One was an application for 169 Thompson, which was Zizi's Clam Bar, the Carbone Group, and they had moved that and they're coming back. And that all worked out fine. But in addition, we pointed out that their roadbed, which was gorgeous, is still up in the middle of the road and non-conforming to anything. And they said it would be removed by Monday, and it was removed by that Monday. So that's good when we have operators that actually do what they say they're going to do. And there's a little place on Sullivan Street that had a tavern wine license, previously unlicensed. Neighbors weren't really happy with that one. This is a new operator coming in there for a typical Japanese restaurant. He's over in Japan with his wife is Japanese. They were coming back to New York. They met with the neighbors. It seems like it'll be it's already licensed, and it seems like it'll be a better fit for that neighborhood. So fingers crossed that works out. That's it.
Susanna?
You may not know anything about this. The restaurant Extra Virgin on West Forest Street has closed, and there's a new restaurant going in, and and it has the same wooden platform that the previous one did, which my memory was said
it's not supposed to be there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be there, and when they came, it was made very clear it's not supposed to be there. So
okay,
we'll see, but it's not supposed to be there.
Okay.
I see any questions more for Donna? Okay. I see Chenault, you're now with us. Would you like to give her?
We had an unusual number of applications, some small, and soon there are going to be no houses in the village to be converted. So we'll have a considerable cut down in what we see. We had 3 this month and 1, possibly a second one for next month. Then they're all extensive, of course, because they redo the whole house. Otherwise, we have I guess you call it a note to Susan, or memo to Susan, suggesting that she as the board have the next, I presume, forum, however it would be formed, about the center, and the expected activities are that in December we expect from the commissioner, the Manhattan commissioner, because it's been turned over to her, a report on that they promised when they declined to come to the previous forum, and it needs to be received, and we would think another forum to deal with it in a holistic way. Certainly there are, we thought, 4 separate committees that it concerns, and there may be others, and that it's more appropriate as a board activity at this moment.
Okay, any questions for Chenault? Anything else on landmarks? Thank you, Chenault. Street activities.
We also had a pretty light meeting this month. Nothing super, crazy to call out. We did have one that was kind of interesting. It was someone who sort of on their own wanted to throw sort of this big Thanksgiving feast. And they wanted to invite some of the, homeless and unhoused community, but it was just, there was no preparation and it was not enough time to really get it done for the time frame they wanted to do. And they wanted to do all these different things. So it was a good cause, but we had to sort of deny it just because they weren't ready. And so we did say, look, if you want to do something like this in the future, like come to us and we'll help give you guidance. So it is definitely hard for people to do events if they're not part of to navigate the SAPO process, I think, if they're not part of like a large organization or representing, someone who does this all the time. So I think anything we can do to help guide people to the extent they want to do stuff. We're always talking about how we want to see sort of more local initiative in our street events rather than kind of the standard stuff that we see from folks who don't necessarily live here. So anyway, that was kind of the only one to call out. We are trying to get SAPO to potentially come again in December. We're waiting for them to confirm. Agenda TBD. I think we'd want them to cover sort of the pop-up issue, which we've seen more and more. So we'll see if that happens. I don't know if everyone saw the scaffolding collapse yesterday. I think that's another issue we would sort of want to potentially cover at some point is scaffolding reform. I know it's been on the docket for a long time. So at some point, I think that would be an interesting issue. I know there's been a lot of bills sort of proposed, but I'm not sure much has happened. But that's probably for maybe 2025.
Yes, Suzanne.
So I have similar questions for everybody. Who was the entity that wanted to do the Thanksgiving dinner?
It was just a single person living on.
I see. Oh, right. I see. Okay. I just wonder if bids can be helpful to them.
Okay.
Potentially, yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Ivy, you have your hand up, please.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute. Thank you.
I will. It'll be when we invite them, if we can have them an agenda, whether we could do some kind of be invited for a workshop to actually do that part of trying to see if there's a committee that can help people apply that are not part of a big organization. I mean, I've done the health fair and it's not easy, even 4 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's part of the role I think our committee could do. It's maybe just getting the word out there that if people have any questions, they can come to us and we can help direct them.
And of course, we hope not to encourage too many more street activities because we got too many of them anyway.
I feel like we don't know sometimes some of their blind sides too. For example, like I had requested a street that they had construction. Instead of just telling me like, you can't have the street because we have construction. It took them 4 months to actually wait till the last minute to tell me that.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things I've asked Mark to do, and I don't know if we have it yet, but there's a new SAPO guide for 2024. That's kind of the grand guide that covers street activities. So I think we should have link to that on our website or put a copy of it.
Yeah.
And maybe publicize that.
Okay.
So
We'll take care of that. If there's nothing else for Will, traffic, Shirley.
Okay, so traffic. Had 3 items, 1 a presentation and 2 resolutions. Presentation was by the New York State Department of Transportation, who after years is finally doing a study of 9A by the Hudson River Park. The whole, of 9A from down, say, by Chambers up to, I think, 59th. A very nice guy who is the chief planner from the DOT, their state DOT. And from what they're saying, they are bent on including community and community input. He also indicated, it seems like they've been paying more attention than we thought. For instance, they really were aware that resiliency is a big issue. So that was a surprise kind of. Also, that there's this tremendous problem on the Greenway with bicycles and e-bikes, as an example. They are planning to have a special committee that will include experts, and they say local organizations and citizens as well. And we're hoping to see what that will be like. And we've asked them if we can give input. And just trying to think of what the other kind of salient things that was said. Oh, yes, they are putting together a website, and they will have an email address so people can go to the website and find out what's doing, and also email them with their concerns and ideas for what there is to study. Anyhow, they seem very enthusiastic and really ready to do an in-depth study, and we hope that's the case. They're supposed to get back to us by the middle of November. We haven't heard from them yet. But anyhow, it's really encouraging. 30 years. They haven't done a study since they actually did a study for the initial 9A. So that's number one. Two was a resolution that is supporting the extension of the Varick Street bikeway from Houston Street down to Canal Street. Then asking for that. Realized we had a resolution on that 8 years ago. So we've been asking for a long time. Also, found that there really is no bikeway going south that way. So that's interesting too, protected bikeway. Okay, and third, and Chenault, I hope you're there, because Chenault has been really the one who's been monitoring these problems on Christopher Street for ad infinitum. The latest being the crosswalk at Waverly Place, which they now have installed a zebra stripe crosswalk, except that they really don't have the proper traffic control. That is a stop sign, which we have been asking for, and Chenault has been asking for a long, long time. Instead, they have something called, now I'm not sure if anybody is aware of this, it is called pedestrian crossing signage. So you may have seen it. It's a little picture of pedestrian on a gold sign, but nobody recognizes it. So guess what happens?
They ignore it.
Nothing. Because zoom right through. So we're pushing like crazy for a stop sign at Waverly and Christopher. And again, at the intersection of Christopher and 7th Avenue South, there are a lot of problems. One very salient one being that cars turn left there, that is south, and don't pay attention to pedestrians crossing. They're not supposed to turn south. There is signage. The signage is not really effective. We are asking for more signage, more street markings. Hopefully, they'll come through this time.
Great.
Did I say enough, Chenault?
Crossing is a mess.
Yes, thank you. This is called, it has a name. It's to keep Chenault from getting run over on the way to church. And it's on the way to my subway stop. So I'm there 5 or 6 times a week, and certainly a round trip. And so I think I probably have a better grasp of it than someone in an office downtown with a map. So Shirley was so thorough in getting every detail. It was
But the pedestrians, they're out of control.
Fine.
Okay. Katie, you have your hand up.
Yes. Shirley.
Yes.
I got an email from, is it the Central Village bid, the brand new bid, the 7th Avenue bid, and they're doing
what do they call West Side bid? No.
The West Village
West Village bid. Yeah.
right, and they're doing a study of 7th Avenue South. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Are they looping you in? What's our relationship to this?
Yeah, they have already, I forgot who the consultant is.
Sasaki.
Sasaki, right. I've spoken with Sasaki. I've sent them the issues. Hopefully they will find solutions and follow through and have some kind of impact on getting things done. Yes, but I'm aware of it, spoken to them a couple of times, given them lots of information on our issues on 7th Avenue.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm on the board of the West Village bid, and they've had one, and they're having another public session, like a charrette kind of thing. And then I guess I asked if they'd been in touch with CB2, and Zach Owens, who's the ED, says he's been in constant contact with Shirley, so.
Yeah, I had a conflict on the event they had at the Stonewall, but they've been very good in getting back to me, but I just want to be sure that, they're in the circulation.
Okay, thank you.
It's great that they're doing it because you have to admit, bids often have more of an influence than we do, unfortunately, but good they're doing it.
Anyone have anything else for Shirley on traffic? Ivy, you're on. Do you have anything you want to share with us? No. Okay. I'm circling back. Is there a report?
I didn't give a report.
Okay, please, on cannabis. Thank you.
All right, we had 2 applications, one at 388 West Street and the other at 112 Mulberry Street. There was opposition from the community surrounding each proposed dispensary, and we voted to deny both. Next month, we have 3 applications so far, all of which would require a waiver of the 1,000-foot proximity restrictions between dispensaries. And that's about it for it. Okay. But I mean, for the 388 West Street, we received a lot of pushback from the community about that one in particular, especially.
What can you share about that?
Let me see.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I have notes.
I mean, I can jump in.
Go ahead.
You can add to it.
First of all, where's that located? What intersection?
It's near Christopher and the West Side Highway. It's on, what's the exact
It's
address?
388 West Street. It's also
Right by Weehawken, yeah.
Yeah, it's right by Weehawken. So the good news is it'll activate a formerly dead space. The applicant, there's a form they fill out, and one of the things is who's the owner, and they're still working out who's the owner. So that was not available. They didn't do any community outreach, and that's again in the form. And meanwhile, a whole bunch of people from 165 Christopher showed up and got it. And
it sounds sloppy. And
it was, yes, thank you.
And it's part of the historical landmark, Weehawken Street. Yeah, there's a zoning problem too. That it's zoned for 10 occupants, but they want to put in 40 employees. We asked them that question, and the guy
40 employees?
Yeah, but then he said, "Oh, it was a typo. We meant 4."
Oh, but this is for all of the staffing. They're not all at once. They're 7 days a week.
You're allowed to have up to 74 people without any additional permits. All you need to do is file for a letter of no objection.
Oh, really?
Any storefront space can have up to that number unless it's a very contemporary CBO.
Okay.
How many years sorry.
No.
I didn't raise my hand, sorry.
Neither did I.
Any other?
Yeah, I just don't want people, so they're recording, so just don't talk over each other. But yes, Susanna.
The waiver, how does that work? I mean, a waiver on the 1,000-foot rule.
Oh, for next month?
Do they get offered? Wait, I mean, do they get waivers sometimes?
We
don't know.
We went, Mara and I attended the OCM meeting this month, and it looks like they are making exceptions. They did it in CB4 on 2 licenses. So I think they're trying to do that, and we're pushing back on it. So we'll see what happens in December.
Anyone else on any cannabis matters? Yes, Valerie.
I noticed that your meeting was during the day, so I was just curious if you were able to achieve quorum and if members from the public showed up.
Yeah, quorum, we had about 6 people show that were here in the room, and they all voiced opposition regarding 388 West.
Or even more.
Why else would they come?
Let me look. I just took a picture.
Yeah, good turnout.
I cannot
make it. That whole back section is full.
Going forward, can we put those on Zoom so that people can participate?
Absolutely, yes, that is going to be necessary.
Oh, is in the room?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
We'd have to take up with the chair.
Yeah, I will be discussing that with her, but it is important because of it's an unusual hour. If we wanted to try to expand the hours in which we operate, I think it's only fair to the public that we have to consider that too.
Yeah, I would have liked to join as a committee member also.
Yeah.
Just no way during the workday.
Something to work on. Anything else? Yes.
Oh, no, on cannabis.
No, if it was on cannabis, otherwise I will say, does anyone have new business? Is that what you, okay.
I did a training, one of the borough president trainings on equity, on the equity, and there's a phenomenal website collection thing now, that tool that the city has, and I was gonna ask Mark if we can offer it on our website for people who are interested in it. The city is continuously making strides in data that's available for people. And this is all about distribution of services and all different kinds of things. And you can create maps and you can layer one thing over another. So I was going to ask Mark if we can add that to the.
Okay.
And anyone who wants to take that training, that was an interesting one.
These are all recorded so that I believe, so that you can now.
I attended.
Well, of course, but I'm saying there are recordings of these now so that you can go back and enjoy them at your leisure. Any other new business? Anything else anyone wants to bring up? Yes.
Just for this group, I don't know if anyone else joined the training yesterday by the borough president, Monday, by the borough president's office on leadership transition and getting ready for term limits and all of that. So that is very well done presentation. I think that we're going to send out the slides. So I'm happy to share that with anyone. And I'm sure it'll be on the borough president's YouTube, but there's a lot of really good ideas. So I may be reaching out to some to talk about them. Thanks.
Is this something that we can see as a recording or?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to ask if it was going to be done again.
Yeah, I'll share the link.
We'll share it so that we'll make
Yeah.
sure everybody has access to it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're done, folks. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you for doing it, getting done.